How is everybody doing this evening? I gotta thank everybody for watching the Thinking Game podcast we filmed on the bridge. I think on the north side because it's free parking over there. So shout out to everybody who been watching it, whether on YouTube, whether on Facebook, the clips we posted on TikTok, or Instagram, or Twitter. We appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the support. Keep supporting. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Keep sharing. Help us grow. Help us spread the word. And with that being said, today we are going to have a conversation. And I really don't want this to be the only time we have this kind of conversation. But the conversation about why some people don't make it in sports in the inner city. What are some of the things that stops people from going to the next level? What are some of the hurdles that it's harder for people to jump over, or some people have more hurdles than others, based on situations, circumstances, or whatever they have to face? So we finna have this conversation, and please hit me up in the comments. Let me know if some of the things you know why some people don't make it. Cause some people make it, but everybody that's in pro sports, we all know people that we grew up around or in the inner city or the hood that they were great in sports, but for some reason they never really got to the next level to really show their talents or take that chance to even try to get to the next level because of whatever circumstances or choices made or just a multitude of things. But we finna have that conversation. So let me know in the comments what you think. Some of the things you know why some people didn't make it. There's a lot of reasons, but we fit to explore some of those reasons. Like I said, I don't want this to be the only day. I would love to have some of the people who kind of went to the next level and can kind of come back and let us know, or kind of come on and just chop it over with us. Let us know like why some people struggle at different levels or just can't really get out the inner city because of whatever reason. But it does happen. I know growing up in Southwest, knew some great athletes, and we finna talk about, like I say, some of the reasons why some of them wasn't able to get out of the inner city based on different factors and circumstances. So let's get right to it.
Keep on moving, don't stop, no.
So this is what I pretty much talked about. Why everybody won't make it out. An inner city sports conversation. So we about to have. No judgment, straight objectivity, not being subjective at all. I'm just telling you things I saw based on my experience, my exposure level. Um, some of them is based on my experiences as well. But we finna talk about it. Uh, Not blaming anybody. I'm not saying nobody did nothing wrong. I'm just telling you the circumstances, some of the things the kids face growing up in the inner city that's not talked about enough. So with that being said, let's go right into it.
Keep on moving, don't stop, no.
One reason I see why everybody won't make it out is home stability affects the choice or situations people are in. It affects the choices that you make. Sometimes it challenges the choices that you make. Do I do those extra workouts even though I know when I get home I don't have the food to nourish me, or I'm gonna go to bed hungry because we just not stable enough to have those extra meals past what we're able to do at home. Home stability is so much chaos going on at home. I can't really have a clear train of thought because it's so chaotic. It's not enough stability at home. People think that they'll say that you can overcome these things, and you actually can, but it's not. everybody don't have that mindset to overcome. It's just too much, just based on the scenario. Everybody tolerance is different. Everybody's mindset is different. Everybody processes information different. But there are a lot of kids in these sports, even though sports is a getaway for them, but they still have to go back home to chaotic situations. Not all kids, but there are some kids. And usually time it be those kids that are great, but it's the surrounding sometimes that causes them to not be able to fully display their talents because the psychology of a person, things affect your psychology, whether people want to admit that or not. It does. And sometimes it's a lot for a person to overcome. It's all about your mental, your spiritual foundation. And some people don't have a spiritual foundation. They only have what they have. And it's hard for them to overcome some of the stability issues, and that affects their choices. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Do you think that home stability affects some of the reason why some guys don't make it to the next level, whether it's going to college or whether it's college trying to make it to the pros? It's hard for them to focus because of their situation that their family's in, like the situation that their mom's in. Could be health, could be financial, could be a multitude of things. And you feel compelled or you feel the pull, and that pull takes some focus points away from you to be able to really go to that next level. But let me know in the comments what you think about that. We'll go to the next slide. Another reason why everybody won't make it out is access to facilities to train in the off season. You know, a lot of these towns, when you go to like Bentonville and you go to these towns where they invest in, money into their sports, some of these kids they have access to individual training in whatever position that they're in. So when they come back the next season, they have the fundamentals down of the position and then add the scheme or whatever they're running. They don't have to worry about working on the fundamentals. That's already covered. Now you're just working on how to implement those into the scheme that you're running. In the inner city, a lot of times they don't have access to those facilities. There is no sports facility. I'm talking about in the inner city. I'm not talking about somewhere out there, where affluent neighborhoods and stuff like that. I'm talking about in the inner city. Like Southwest Little Rock, there are no sports facilities. We have boys and girls clubs, but they're not solely specialized in sports training. A boys and girls club is more of a situation where kids come there from the community in the summer to do different programs, but it's nothing where if you're a defensive end, if you're a quarterback, if you're a running back, receiver, any kind of position, offensive lineman, it is a facility that you can go to and you work on those things. Not only do you work on the physical aspect, but you watch game film on offensive linemen. You watch game film on quarterbacks. You watch game film on cornerbacks, DBs, and safeties. You're studying your position in the off season. A lot of kids don't have those kind of facilities. And people can say all they want why they don't do it at home. It's a lot of people in the inner city that can't afford internet, and if they did, they don't have laptops to go around the house. They don't have 3 or 4 laptops in their house. And then even on top of that, a lot of these kids are not at home long enough, the attention span to really sit down and study those positions. And if they had a facility to go to get out of the inner city and get away from their surrounding and surround themselves with learning the game, in my opinion, I think we'll see a better product of inner city athletes that comes in school ready to just now they got everything else covered as far as their individual scheme, individual talent and fundamentals. Now you're taking that individual talent and fundamentals and applying it to whatever scheme that their school is running, whether it's defensive scheme or offensive scheme. But there's something that I think that's missing is facilities to train in the off season. Some schools can't afford to do that. I get it. It's a financial thing. They can't afford to do that. And but there are kids out here that's all they got. They can only go off of what they have. And sometimes this can be a factor in why some kids they don't get a chance to make it to the next level because their parents or their family just don't have the financial means to provide them with access to those facilities in the off season, whether it's football camps, whether it's just being able to study your position to know how to get better, incrementally better in different aspects of that position. So let me know in the comments, do you think that access to facilities to train in the off season makes a difference for kids in the inner city? And that's why some of them don't make it because they don't have that extra training to bulk up in the summer or extra training to just study their position in the summer. Let me know in the comments. The next one is another reason why everybody won't make it out is high level of exposure to the streets. You see that dial right there, that meter right there? Some people like at a 1. You see when it get red, some people are in the red when it comes to being exposed. It's like it's too much exposure to the streets. And it kind of messes with your psychology. It messes with your decision making. It messes with your choices. And it can sometimes it can be the difference. We've seen tales and documentaries, and you hear all these things. Athletes go broke. They can't handle the money. Some people get to the next level, but they just can't handle the success because all they know is the streets. You haven't been taught about the other side of life. It's just streets, streets, streets. Street code. And the crazy part about the street code, if you really think about it, there is no book. There is no no constitution. There's nothing in concrete about the street code. It's a collective of ideas, but nothing is in stone. That's what makes the street code pretty crazy and unique. Like the law, they have books on law and codes and statutes and all these things. But there's no book on street code. It's just something you just have to pick up and learn as you go, and it could change at any time. We see that now, changes at any time. But some people have a high level of exposure to it, and they can't let it go. It's the part of their identity. That's how they feel, and it goes everywhere with them, and it affects them in many ways. And sometimes you could go through some things in the streets that it will have an effect on you for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, but it will. Like I was telling them on the podcast, something about cars and gold datings. Most dudes, they love cars. It's just been growing up in the streets. That's what most dudes have. It be dudes that have cars before they have a house. They have 2 cars before they have a house with rims and stuff. Before you even get to living like a regular person. But that's in the streets, that's kind of all you know sometimes. Your car is what you're in most of the time. Then you are a house. So high level of exposure to the streets definitely have held a lot of people back. And sometimes they didn't even realize it until they got older. The streets was such a heavy burden that it was a weight that stopped them from trying to elevate because you got this weight that you're trying to carry and not being able to let it go. And the streets is tough. The streets is not what people think it is. Sometimes people think the streets are loyal. It's not. The streets is just what it is. The streets. The roads are not always smooth. It's always changing. The streets is rough. It ain't got a lot of give. Like a wooden floor, the concrete don't got a lot of give, and it don't love you back. You fall and hit the concrete, it's gonna hurt. And it's up to you to be resilient enough to try to overcome the exposure to the streets. And not everybody can overcome that. It's a tough task to do. But let me know in the comments what you think. Is high level of exposure to the streets, has that held a lot of the great ones back that didn't get a chance to show their greatness because of the streets? And it happens, it happens. The last slide, and I say this for last for a reason, but reason why everybody won't make it out is as men. Let me know in the comments. As men, not being taught about dealing with women at a young age. When you grow up in a single parent household and that male figure is missing, and you have young men that are not being taught integrity in dealing with women, I fell into it. A lot of guys fall into it. You're not being taught about how to deal with women. We have to agree, unless some people not, but every woman is not the same. The mindset could be different. Motives could be different. Tactics, TATICS, tactics can be different. So you have to be mindful that every woman is not the same. Every woman is not going to treat you the same. There are some women who know how to, I want to say, trap or try to work a man into a situation, and now he feels obligated or he can't get out of that situation. It happens. There are women who look at guys based on potential or financial, and they will do everything they can to infiltrate, to conquer, to divide, add, subtract, or multiply, however, but they will. Understanding that when you're a star athlete, that women will look at you different, they will play you different, they'll come at you different than if you're just a regular guy. When your name is in the newspaper, when you are on the news, that does something.
Am I right?
And not being taught the integrity on how to deal with a woman, especially not understanding that women come at you in different ways.
Am I right?
A lot of guys have been picked off because they just didn't understand or didn't have the teaching on integrity in dealing with a woman. Because some women, it sounds easy just to say have integrity, but there are some women who know how to really get you to not even think about integrity. They're real good at it. They're real good at getting you to take your mind off of what you need to have your mind on and really take a lot of your attention and have it placed on them. And I'm not saying that it's not easy, because some dudes you got to think some dudes, these girls that approach them, they probably been thinking about these girls as well. Be like, man, I wonder what it would be like to talk to her. And when you get to that level in high school or junior high, you're the man on campus, and now the girl that you've been looking at, now she's coming, put herself in your path. Now this girl is talking to you. Like literally, you wasn't even talking to us. You wasn't even a thought on her mind. But now all of a sudden, she's around your locker area now. When you walk into your car, she's in your line of sight where at first she wasn't even in your path. It wouldn't even have happened. But this is the kind of things we have to teach our young men is the focus and the integrity that you got to have when you're taking care of your business on the sports side, and understand the integrity that you got to have when dealing with women. Because there are a lot of stories of star athletes having kids in high school because they didn't have the discipline and they weren't taught the integrity on how to deal with women. They got caught up in the snares and the traps that some women set. I'm not saying all women, but there are some women, they're good at setting traps, kind of like a bear trap. You know, get you clamped in there, clap. And there was a lot to overcome. They try to go to the next level, but having multiple kids in high school was a great financial burden that they couldn't overcome. It happens. It happens. And I'm saying this, I hope some of youth watch this to understand that sometimes you have to go against the odds. You're going against odds that's stacked against you. So you have to minimize the odds that are stacked against you. You have to really outthink your surroundings and situations to get to that next level and not get caught up in the spider web of the streets, the spider web of maybe home instability, the spider web of dealing with women, the spider web of not having the financial resources or facilities to do things in the off season. There's a spider web has many kind of things that you can get caught in, but you want to minimize getting caught in the spider web of life and overcome and make it to that next level in whatever sport or even in regular life, your academic life, your career life. You want to overcome the odds, but you have to be able to understand the odds that's against you. And that's what I'm trying to do. There are odds that are stacked against you, especially in the inner city, that you got to overcome. And you can do it, but you have to understand what you're up against. You got to get out of the naive stage. You have to really learn about what you're up against so you can have a chess strategy to overcome and counter those things. So with that being said, let me know in the comments what you think. What are some of the things kids deal with that keeps them from going to the next level that people don't talk about? So with that being said, thanks for watching CTM TV. Subscribe and follow on all platforms. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Appreciate everybody for watching. This is Mike. Wanted to make this today. Why people don't make it? Let me know in the comments. Continue to watch. This is Mike, and I'm signing out.